If you're looking to make money, just like Emerson stole money from us, you better be using FanDuel because you can actually make money in a good way by winning tickets on basketball, football, baseball, hockey. You name it, you can find it on FanDuel. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 moneyline bet. That's $150 if your team wins. So if you've been thinking about joining FanDuel, there's no better time to get in on the action. The app is easy to use, and there's a wide range of betting options, including spreads, player props, over-unders, and much, much more. So visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to kick off the NFL season. FanDuel, an official partner of the NFL, an official partner of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show. Guys, if you have winning FanDuel tickets, send them our way. We're down to our last one in the queue right now, and this one comes from 2 weeks ago, but this was such a good winner I wanted to show it because we didn't get a chance to show it. But 2 weeks ago, our guy Kyle had a 5-part anytime touchdown parlay. Mark Andrews, Mike Evans, Jerome Ford, Stephon Diggs, and that turned $2 into $122. So shout out to him. Shout out to Kyle. And if you have a winning FanDuel ticket, make sure you send it our way, and we'll give you some love on the airways of UCSS.
We have to get Corey up. I'm pretty sure he uses FanDuel. He had a $300 parlay on the Browns on Sunday.
Tell him to send it in.
Yeah, I'll tell him to text it over. He was very excited about it, too. All right, let's just dive right in. And I thought your starting point today was interesting because on the surface, you would say there's a fairly large gap between Lamar Jackson and Deshaun Watson. And that's what we're talking about. But you went an interesting way. Your question was, has he closed the gap with the way he played on Sunday? Because if you would have asked this question before Sunday's game, you're like, what kind of question is that? I mean, one's playing at, a Pro Bowl caliber level, and the other one has been out with injury, has been below average for most of his starts, and really good in the Tennessee game. But I think he was very good in the Arizona game by what we've seen from him so far. Has he closed that gap between the two?
Jason?
No, I don't think you can say that yet. Now, here's what I think you have to be optimistic about.
They were once mentioned in the same breath.
Yeah, I know. Not that long ago. But his last full game, Tennessee, he was terrific. Then Indy, I think you can throw it out because clearly he wasn't ready. I thought the first half Sunday, he did not look good.
No.
I don't care what anybody says. He didn't look good in the first half. Second half, he looked better. So if you want to take, his last 8 full quarters, he's pretty good in 6 of the 8. So for that reason, I think you can have some optimism that he's turning the corner here and starting to figure some things out. But when you're talking about, Lamar's had one of the best seasons of his career. So I still think it's a pretty wide gap. Doesn't mean the Browns can't win the game. Doesn't mean Deshaun can't go out and ball out on Sunday. But if you have to pick one quarterback for your team to play on Sunday, who are you taking? I'm taking Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, that's easy.
It's not even close.
Yeah.
And he's closed. If you say he's closed the gap, it's like the other day when I said the Browns were a worse roster without DPJ because they were like, 0.1% worse or 0.2% worse. That's how much he's closed the gap. Right now, there's no comparison. I don't know that I agree that is Lamar Jackson statistically having his best year better than the MVP season?
Well, you know what? It's tricky. I like what you said. If you watch the games, he hasn't needed to be Lamar Jackson of 3 years ago.
No.
Their run game has really come into their own. And I think because of that, Jay, they're a more difficult team to play.
It's not just him.
Right.
They have better talent. Well, what's his name? Zay Flowers. He's a player.
He's a very good player.
Odell's not doing much, but
he's taking care of the football. His 9 touchdowns, that doesn't,
how many rushing touchdowns?
They played 9 games. I think he's got 5.
Give me 1 second.
Yeah, he's not running like he was a few years ago. He's playing
got 400 yards.
It's
sneaky.
Watching them play, he's playing really, really well right now.
I felt like he was more dominant. The bottom line is, if he's not better than he was when he won the MVP, he's certainly right there. Or even if he's a pinch below,
I just think he's
playing at a very high level.
He's a different player now. That he doesn't have to be Superman.
No, he doesn't have to do as much.
He's got pieces now, and I think what I really love about this team more than anything else is the balance that we're seeing from them. They can beat you really 3 ways. They can beat you with their running game. They can beat you with Lamar throwing the ball, or they can beat you with, I don't even put Lamar in with their running game because it's so different. Those are non-called running plays.
Sure.
So when offenses get in trouble, and you can certainly throw the Browns in this category, it's when they take sacks, when the pockets break down and they throw interceptions. With Baltimore and the way Lamar's playing right now, they're not doing that. He's extending plays. He's making plays.
Yeah.
The 9 touchdowns, you're right. It's not eye-popping.
No,
Won a
none of
game.
his stats
Won
are
a game.
eye-popping right now.
But the 3 interceptions is impressive.
That is because he's had turnover issues.
That's the key.
Especially the last 2 years. That's been a big problem for him. He's had a lot of bad turnovers the last 2 years. That's not happening. And he stayed healthy, which he hasn't the last 2 years.
Right.
So we'll see how the rest of the season goes. But as of today, there's not even a discussion to be had. There's no argument for Deshaun Watson even being close to Lamar Jackson today.
They have
Nothing.
the best record in the AFC.
Yeah.
Are they the team to beat in the AFC?
Well,
And I'll go, project out.
I mean,
so at the end of the year, is this 7-2 sustainable? And are they going to the Super Bowl?
I don't think they're going to I wouldn't pick them to go to the Super Bowl because I don't trust them in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But right now, they're the best team in football, I think. Certainly the best team in the AFC. They're playing much better than Kansas City. If I'm doing, I did in my AFC power rankings, for whatever that's worth, I don't even think there's a debate that Baltimore. They're tied with Kansas City at 7-2 in terms of record.
Right.
But they've played way better.
Kansas City now is getting it done with defense. We haven't seen that.
Yeah, I mean, their offense has been up and down.
Patrick Mahomes still their quarterback? That's still my pick to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, he is, but he doesn't look like Patrick Mahomes.
I know, but it's still the Chiefs.
And
he's
at
still
some point,
Patrick
you have to
Mahomes.
wonder, when does the lack of a quality wide receiver room come into play for this team? And I feel like we're starting to see the impacts of that.
I don't know. It's weird that their offense isn't good because they actually, this rookie, Rashee Rice, has played really well for them. He's developing into so I don't think I've watched them enough. I've watched them some, but not enough. Even against Miami, they scored 21 in the first half. It looked like they were going to blow Miami out. And then they didn't score in the second half.
That was it.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's kind of weird. I don't know what's going on with them.
And 7 of those
but
points came from the defense.
I think there's a lot of teams, a lot strong. I think there's a few teams that can win the Super Bowl in the AFC as of right now. The Ravens, even though they're the best team today, they wouldn't be my first choice to come out of the
It's
East.
interesting you say that because
Yeah.
one of the questions that we always asked about Lamar Jackson was, is this sustainable? And can it work in the playoffs?
Yeah.
And the answer really on the sustainability part is to be determined. But the playoff part, I think it's pretty clear. It really hasn't worked in the playoffs.
I mean, to this point, no.
To this point, it hasn't
doesn't mean
worked.
it won't ever.
No, you're right.
Right? John Elway, I know he plays a different game, but John Elway didn't win any Super Bowls till later in his career, right?
Sure.
So
after going to 3.
exactly. So we'll now he's won one playoff game, but same as Watson. I mean, he's only won one playoff game too. So, but he's had no talent around him, and Baltimore lost their number 1 back too, by the way.
I know. And
But their other backs are good.
They filled in just fine.
Yeah.
Where the Browns have not.
And yeah, I mean, Lamar, you got to give him a lot of credit. He is playing really great football right now.
We said yesterday, and I'll ask you today, we were talking about Deshaun Watson and the fact that the fan base seems to be, G was saying that he thinks the fan base is overly negative. Nobody else on the panel really agreed with that. But the one thing that we talked about with this whole thing is, I had brought up the point, look, the question was, does he have to win a Super Bowl for the fan base to fall in love with him? And short of doing that, you got to beat Baltimore. You got to beat Pittsburgh. You can't win this division without beating Baltimore and Pittsburgh. It's impossible. It can't happen. So you can't win the Super Bowl Sunday, but games like this is why he is here. It's why the Browns gave him $230. It's why they gave up 3 first-round draft picks.
That's right.
You want to win fans over? Beat Baltimore.
It felt like in past home games, to G's point, people were just ready to boo. They just wanted to boo him.
Well, in the first half, he was giving them reason to boo.
Yeah, and not even just last week. Just throughout. Zach Jackson and I have talked about that in the press box multiple times, that they're just waiting to boo.
So it's a powder keg.
But we've talked about it before. I think people are in their divided camps. It feels like Baker all over again, where you either love the guy or you hate the guy. And I don't think there's any changing that. Like, there's no coming back from that. Just because of all the off-field stuff and everything that he's been through. I don't know it's the entire fan base, but there's certainly percentages on each side.
But, the frustrating thing about all of this, right, and I'm clearly someone who was in the anti-Baker camp, but if you're actually listening to what I've said over the years, there were plenty of times, I'm sure, same thing with you, gave Baker credit when he played well. Yeah. I didn't just ever, because I thought Baker wasn't that good, I didn't just say he sucked even when he played well. You're going to give a guy credit when he plays well. Baker's playing decent football this year.
To that
I give him credit, fine. The point is, like, this idea right now, it really pisses me off that half our fan base, if you say anything bad about Watson, you're the worst, you're terrible, you're not giving him any credit. He doesn't deserve much credit right now. On the other hand, you got to be fair if you're a Watson hater that he gave you reason for optimism, if nothing else, in the second half of that game. I don't know that it's going to turn into anything else. He might play like crap against Baltimore. Yeah. But between Tennessee and the second half of this last game, there's some optimism. But again, he was doing it against the worst team in football. So I want to see it against Baltimore. I want to see it against Pittsburgh. He goes out and balls out the next 2 weeks and the Browns win, there'll be a lot of people jumping on his bandwagon.
He has to play better. He has to play better Sunday than he did in the second half against Arizona.
Yes, he does.
I think Tyvis pointed this out. If you go back and look at some of those throws that he made that we think were good throws, they're getting picked against Baltimore. He threw one into triple coverage. That's going the other way. If he tries to make that throw,
that's the difference
Sunday,
between Arizona and Baltimore.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
One of the things has to be even better.
Interesting I was reading some stats that caught my eye yesterday. The Browns, when they play man, and they're a heavy man defense, forced the lowest QBR in the NFL. But the Ravens are number 2. And that scared me because what he can't do is turn the ball over. It's really that elementary. You turn the ball over, you give a team a short field, you cut your chances of winning that game significantly. And because the Baltimore defense has been so good, almost as good as Cleveland, when they're playing man, that gives me reason for pause. Now, I'm not predicting that he can't go out up there and do big things, but I'm a little nervous about it because this, like you said, this is not Arizona's defense.
Well, we talked about it on Monday. And Baltimore is the type of defense who can do it. Amari Cooper's double covered every play. Every snap he's on the field, you bracket him with 2 defenders. And now what are you going to do if you're the Browns? Where are you going to go from there? And so we talk about who else can emerge and who else can fill a role on this team. Elijah Moore has to come through. Like he just has to come through. He's shown nothing to this point. There's going to come a point where someone like Elijah Moore or Tillman or somebody else is going to have to emerge and win a game for them.
What was stunning to us, Jason, when you and I were here Monday, was that when I was stunning to me. I don't know if it was stunning to you. When Mike said that Cedric Tillman played 75% of the snaps.
It didn't feel like it.
He didn't see him on
Monday.
He was invisible.
Yeah.
He caught that 1 3-yard pass at the end of the game, and I don't even know how many targets did he have. Was that his only target?
His only target, correct.
I mean, that's crazy. You're a wide receiver on the field 75% of the plays, and you have 1 target?
Jay, how are they missing this badly on wide receivers in the draft?
It feels like a blind spot at this point, doesn't it? Like it feels,
really does.
Especially with mid-round picks. And with mid-round picks, a lot of times it's right around now, and when it takes him a first few weeks, a couple months to get onto the field, and like he's not a first-round pick. There's a reason he wasn't a first-round pick. But I guess the thing that I'm disappointed is, and we've talked about it before, it's not like he forced DPJ off the roster. It's not like he was so good that they had to create a spot for him. It was simply a business move with DPJ. They knew he wasn't coming back. I mean, he was the best of all of the mid to late receivers that they've taken.
Yes.
And they've already moved on.
He was late. He was a 6.
Yeah.
You look at the threes that they missed. Did I see Anthony Schwartz got picked up by
He
someone?
did. Miami.
Yeah.
They need more.
No. He didn't get picked up.
They're working
tryout.
yeah. That's interesting to me because he fits their mold.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
He can fly.
I mean, what are they? They're building a 4x1 team that could beat most Olympic countries. It's insane the speed that they're collecting down there.
But unless he learns how to catch, it's not going to matter.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, receiver is part of the title.
Yeah.
You know, you had one job.
Yeah, right.
And I mean, you certainly didn't do it here. All right, so we agree there's pretty wide gap between Deshaun Watson and Lamar Jackson right now. He could at least make some moves to sort of close that.
He could still come out and throw for 280 on Sunday. Would that really surprise anyone?
No,
if he throws for 280 and 3 touchdowns?
No, I don't
would
think
you be
it
surprised?
would.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Can they go score for score, though, with Baltimore?
Depends on the defense.
Yeah.
If the defense turns him over and gives him a short field, yeah. But again, this Browns offense is not built for coming from behind. If they fall down 2 scores early, that's although we said the same thing at San Francisco and they came back. San Francisco was 10-0, wasn't it? And I remember thinking, well, that's that.
I mean, by the way,
they're not built to come from behind.
Seattle was the same way.
By the way, have you seen a more misleading stat than where the Browns are ranked in rushing yards?
Well, I mean, it's because Nick Chubb, they were number 1 when they had Chubb.
Well, that's part
a game
of it.
and a
It's also
half.
because, contrary to popular belief, they run the ball a lot.
Sure.
And so, like last week, they ran the ball
40 times?
40 times?
Something like that.
They were only averaging 3 yards a carry.
I don't even think it was 3 yards.
He stuck with it. But their running game is not very good, the Browns.
No, it is not.
It's not very good.
And I think we're going to talk about this later on, so I don't want to get into it too much. But I'm just scratching my head saying, where do you even go? Like, who's your horse?
You don't have one right now.
They do not have their horse. And I don't know how a team can make a playoff run if you don't know who you got to have a running back.
I don't agree with that.
And I know you don't. You think that this is a passing league, but I think you still have to have a running back.
If Deshaun Watson plays up to expectations, you don't need a running back.
Yeah,
if
that's
Deshaun
a big if
Watson,
right now.
if our goal for Deshaun Watson is going to be just don't turn it over, well, yeah, then you need a running back.
By the way, I keep hearing that talk, though. I mean, it is important, but he's got to do more than just not turn it over.
Yeah, that's not why the Browns brought him here, is to just not turn it over.
No, he needs.
They brought him in here to be a star.
Yeah, we talked the first time. I always get this feeling when I watch the Ravens. When they showed John Harbaugh on the sidelines, I'm like, now there's an adult. There is a coach that I could have confidence in. He just feels like he's out coaching every team he plays against. I'm sure he doesn't, but that part of this equation scares me too. Just because Harbaugh always figures out what the weakness is and how to attack it. You mentioned they're going to double Amari on every single play.
I don't know how they
You know why?
wouldn't.
When you look at that graphic that we keep showing about wide receivers and their yards on the season, 270 yards is the second leading receiver on this offense through 8 games. Guys,
That's pitiful.
that's 30 yards a game.
Yeah.
I don't even know how they're 5 and 3.
Again, a lot of that is the quarterback play. That definitely factors in. The quarterback play's been awful overall.
Yeah, and it goes back. I wrote about it after the game on Sunday. What is the staple of this Browns offense right now? What's the identity of the offense?
They don't have one.
It's heavy sets, it's extra linemen, it's extra tight ends, it's screen passes, play action, and take a shot on third down. Like, that's it.
Well,
that's
screen
what it is
passes
right now.
has been the strength of their offense.
Absolutely.
So
and that's
they gotta
think
stick
about
with
that.
Yeah.
Think about that. The strength of the offense
and in
is
the
screen pass.
in the short term, that's fine, but long term, that can't be the offense.
It's not going to work.
You know, you didn't give up 3 first-round picks and pay a ton of. I know some people get uptight when you bring up the money, but I'm going to bring it up. You didn't give up 3 first-round picks and pay a ton of money for a guy to throw screen passes all day.
Well, it's okay for you to bring it up. I know that a lot of people do get angry when you bring up the money.
Oh, I don't care. I
But
mean,
I
it's
know,
part
but
of the equation.
That is the elephant in the room.
If Joe Burrow doesn't play well, I'm going to bring up his money.
And the
If
reason
Patrick Mahomes doesn't play well, I'm going to bring up his money.
The reason it's part of this,
Yeah.
let's just say it was 130 guaranteed. You've got options.
Yeah.
The 230 cements him in that position for 5 years. You can't do anything. So I think it's, and look, G's question yesterday, and I think his assertion was, why are you picking on Deshaun? That's what it felt like when he was here. I know you guys weren't here. If I'm wrong and mischaracterizing that, guys, step in. But didn't it feel like his assertion yesterday was everybody's being so mean to Deshaun? He said the chat room comments, Twitter. He watched the postgame show on one of the local stations here, and he said everybody was being mean.
I just don't think you can worry about that stuff anyway. But
No, I know, but part of that is, it's just like an A-Rod signed the big contract he signed with Texas.
there are expectations.
You put a bullseye on your back.
That's right.
And,
that's part of getting the money is you got to play at a high level.
That's it.
That's it. There's pressure to succeed.
So, I
And
mean,
he's
don't
not gonna-
apologize for leaving that.
No,
or
and
throwing
he's not
that
going
in.
to get any benefit of the doubt because of the off-the-field stuff. Whether you like it or not, the benefit of
factors
the
in.
doubt goes away.
And I mentioned that
And he
yesterday,
has
too.
not played well.
No, he has
That's
not.
it.
Let me ask you guys this. Deshaun is an ultra-competitive guy. We heard David say that yesterday, even going back to his days at Clemson.
Yes.
This is, I think, the first time, and correct me if I'm wrong, in week 1, I guess you could say Burrow in that category, but this is the first time where Deshaun going up against the quarterback where they both feel good. Joe Burrow was dealing with the ankle or the calf injury in week 1, where he has a chance to kind of go, I don't want to say mano-a-mano because obviously quarterbacks don't go against each other, but this is a chance for him to kind of plant the flag and say, all right, Lamar, I know you're in the MVP conversation. I'm going to get back there too. Do you guys still believe Deshaun has that alpha mentality in there to step his game up to go against some of the best quarterbacks?
that's a
I
great
think it's fair.
question.
The fact that we're asking the question is disturbing.
It is disturbing,
Yes.
but I'll tell you this. If you just go by
it a fair
body
question?
language, you said the alpha dog. Well, he's got to be supremely confident. One of the things I can say he is not definitively is extremely confident.
I thought he showed some confidence in the second half. I
Yeah,
thought
but-
the cockiness was there, and I want to see that because I think that's been missing.
Yeah, but boy, when he's playing poorly, he looks like someone stole his puppy.
No, that's true. But I thought the second half he played decently. Let's not get carried away. Played decently, and but I think it's still in there. But I'm questioning it. Sure, it's fair to question whether it's still in there.
I think it's a good question. It's certainly fair. But you know
But
what?
he has a chance.
You go out and you beat Lamar Jackson
And play great.
34-10.
Yeah.
And you put up 3 touchdowns and 300 yards and you run for one. All of a sudden, because
That's right.
it's your mantra. It's a week-to-week league.
That's right.
You want to change minds?
Oh, yeah.
Go do that.
Nobody's going to be like anybody. If he plays a great game and kicks ass and they win, anybody criticizing him next week's going to sound like an idiot.
Everyone will declare he's back.
Yes,
If he throws,
100%.
if he throws for 303 touchdowns, everyone will
Yes.
say, okay.
And then
he's
we'll
back.
be
Absolutely
expecting
will.
that the rest of the year.
But I got an email yesterday on my channel 3, which made me laugh. They watched the show and they were commenting on the show and they'd watched it later in the day. And the commenter said, you said he was brought here to win games like this. If he doesn't win, it doesn't mean that he can never be that guy. I never said that.
Right.
What my point was, these are games that this is why he's here.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
you got to play well in these games. So and it also was excuse making before the game.
That's right.
He was saying, well, if he doesn't play well, it doesn't mean that he can't be a great quarterback again.
And that's true. But the more games you go like this where you don't play well, the less likely it seems you will become that
The
guy.
more that cement dries.
Right. It's not over
No.
if he doesn't. And listen,
And I also don't think if he goes out there and balls out that now we can proclaim he's back.
I think
But
people
everyone's
will, but it
going
doesn't
to.
necessarily mean it's the case. But,
Yeah.
your
Tread-
confidence is going to ebb and flow
Sure.
based on every game.
You can't get there without playing well in this game.
But
That's
I
right.
also think it's really important to keep, regardless of what the numbers look like on Sunday, and we say it all the time, if you're on the field, you got to perform.
Yeah.
He is not 100%. He is not going to be 100%. So he could be like this all year. It could look like an EKG for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean he's going to be a bust for the next 3 years. It
Yeah.
means he's
where
playing
is
with
the shoulder though?
in
because
terms of
It's as good as it can be.
He made throws that made me say, that's a healthy arm. Then he made other throws that made me say, what is he doing?
and that's why I
that's
think
what
it's going
Bernie
to be like
told us,
that all
though.
year.
Yeah,
Bernie talked
said
about
that's
that
exactly what's gonna
sudden
happen.
twitch in the muscle when you go to release the football. Like, if that's the case, you're holding your breath for the whole season.
I mean, he had I think probably 3 throws Sunday that were he just ripped them.
They were spectacular.
They were darts.
In windows,
Yeah.
difficult throws to make. Some of them, outside the numbers, long throws.
So it's there. But
It is
can he
there.
get to it consistently when he needs it? I don't know.